Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's kick off with the story of workplace mismanagement, young determination, and a lesson for any bad boss out there. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. How to stop a corporate process. A few years ago, I worked part-time at a supermarket during my high school and early university years. As expected, I encountered my fair share of entitled customers and difficult coworkers, but the one person who really got under my skin was the recently hired supervisor. She had a habit of making life harder for everyone. One example was her refusal to approve paid time off unless she gave 4 weeks' notice, despite our contract stating only 2 weeks were necessary. When I tried to give 4 weeks' notice, she'd claim she couldn't remember me asking. But the real issue came during the busy Christmas season. I've always been flexible with my availability for extra shifts, offering to work any day and any time as long as I was done by 9:30 p.m. This was because I hadn't yet received my full driver's license and legally couldn't drive by myself after 10 p.m., so I worked the majority of my shifts around that time. This had never been a problem until she took over. In early November, I told her the same thing as always. You can schedule me for as many shifts as you want, just make sure I'm done by 9:30 p.m. She asked why, and I explained the situation with my driver's license. She nodded, but later scheduled me for 6 days a week with 5 shifts ending at 10 p.m. I approached her to explain that I couldn't work past 9:30 p.m., and the conversation went like this. Supervisor, SV. But you can still work until 10 p.m. Me. No, I can't. It's illegal for me to drive after 10 p.m. without a supervisor. SV. Well, you could have someone pick you up. Me. They're out of town on business. SV. Take the bus. Me. The bus only runs once an hour, and I'm not standing outside in the dark for 50 minutes. SV. What about Uber? Me. I'm not spending my whole paycheck on an Uber. At that point, she told me I had to find someone to cover my shifts, but my contract didn't say I had to do that, so I stuck to my guns and refused. That shift, I was left to deal with a difficult customer, and my supervisor completely ignored me. I was so fed up that I started sending out CVs, and within a week, I had a new retail job lined up. I handed in my 2-week notice, and my other supervisors were disappointed, but I couldn't work under her anymore. On the day I handed in my notice, I didn't see the bad supervisor until a few days later. She approached me with a forced smile and asked why I was leaving. SV. I heard you were leaving soon. Any particular reason? Me, grinning. Yeah, I already told you why. I'm not working those 10 p.m. shifts. Her smile dropped immediately. It was so satisfying to see her speechless. I just walked away, knowing that quitting wasn't about the job itself, but about quitting bad management. As someone once said, you don't quit bad jobs, you quit bad management. Not only a bad manager, but illegal in many areas as well. At night, the place of business does have some responsibility to ensure their workers are safe, which includes reasonable accommodation to get home after a shift. Having someone sit alone at a bus stop or drive illegally would break those worker safety laws. And our second story. I don't know how to email. Can't you just do it for me? Our store allows customers to email their print jobs to a server, which will then send back a code straight to their inbox and allow them to input it onto the machine for quick and easy printing. All of this is fairly obvious. We have signs posted everywhere, not to mention we tell everyone how to do it when they ask us. This is a full-service option. Any order placed with me, a full-service employee, is done online or in person, and it's obvious you're expected to pay more for that service. We explain this to every customer. Not only that, but once you get to the machines, it's printed clear as day on how to follow the steps, what the email is, and how to input the code once you get it. The steps are simple. Press your option, print, put your card in, select how you're printing, by USB or email, put in your USB or your code, then print. However, if you've ever worked retail, you know just as much as I do how people don't read. Regardless, for the sake of customer service, I swallow all these thoughts down and try my best to help. A woman comes in and tells me she needs to print from her email. I tell her how, and she's almost immediately angry. W. I don't know how to use email. Can you show me how? Me, I actually don't know your email or the service you use. You would have to find your documents and then I could... W, why can't you just print it? Me, well, you need to email it over to this first so we can access it, and I'll show you how to print it over on our self-serve printers. W, you have printers back there, just print it. Moves phone closer to me. Me steps back slightly. Unfortunately, I can't touch your phone due to the Rona, and this is our full service area. If I were to print your documents, there's a mandatory % upcharge to have them printed on the spot. You can come back at time to pick up your order if you'd want to waive that fee. W, it's one page. You can't just print it. I need this now. I can't wait. Me, trying to hide my frustration since this is the third time I'm having this conversation and I've got 1,000 jobs that need to be finished. Her 15-cent job just doesn't matter much to me. No, I can't. W, fine. How do I do it again? Me, tells her. W, I can't get it. Something's wrong. Looks to see that she's getting an error that she's not signed into her email. You just need to enter your password. W, I don't know my password. Me, stammers, I don't know your password either. W, what good is that? My phone service just changed and my husband needs these documents printed, so now I don't have access to the right email, but I need these documents. Me, well, you can just hit reset password and follow the... W, no, because it's going to try to text me the code and I don't have the same phone service. Why don't you understand? It's so simple. Me, trying not to hit this woman. Ma'am, we are not your phone company. Neither are we your email service. You're using our self-serve area. I've done everything I can for you, but this is something you'll need. She goes to interrupt me, but I raise my voice so she can. To solve. If you can't access your documents, there's nothing I can do. I can't print what's not in front of me. I can't pull it out of thin air. W, your job is to help me. Me, and your job is to have your documents ready to print. Now I have other customers I need to help. When you get your document ready, I'll be glad to help you. At this point, I just ignored her while she sat there and shouted every so often, it's still not working. There was nothing I could do. Every avenue I tried to go down to help her, she blocked off. Besides, I had a line of 6 or 7 behind her. I'm only one person and I can't sit there for half an hour and play IT. That's simply not my job. She ended up calling the manager over, who spent nearly 2 hours with her, only to find out those documents weren't even in her email. She threw a fit, but I was so busy I didn't get to hear it. Oh my gosh. This is retail hell in its purest form. You literally gave her every possible solution, and she still managed to create a black hole of entitlement. No password, no access, and somehow it's your fault? The audacity of her thinking your tech support, a miracle worker, and her personal assistant all rolled into one is honestly laughable. And our last story. Entitled parents think disabled parking belongs to them. Me and my wife have a handicap placard for our vehicle. My wife, bless her, has a prosthetic leg and obviously needs the accommodation of handicap parking. The other parents at the daycare didn't seem to think so. Several times a week, both handicap spots at our kids' daycare would be illegally taken. There were several excuses, of course. These ranged from, I'm pregnant, I have 4 kids, I'll only be a minute, etc., etc., etc. All crappy excuses. The handicap spots are clearly marked and display the $250 fine on the sign and everything. My wife also had insults and racial slurs thrown at her when she would ask people to move their vehicles. One entitled mom even slammed the door in her face when my wife tried to enter the daycare to drop off our child. We asked the daycare for help and spoke to their director. We were assured we would be helped and the spaces would be available for those who need them. When me and my wife would bring parking offenders to the staff's attention, they would mostly just shrug their shoulders. So no real help there. Fine. I tried calling the police non-emergency line, gave vehicle info, plate numbers, took pictures under the advice of the police, etc. Still nothing changed. One entitled mom even threw an entire 7-Eleven Slurpee on my car when I asked her to move her car, and I called the cops when she refused. Was she cited? Nope. No ticket because I was flabbergasted. I had to get my car washed. This went on for years. We would tell the daycare staff, call the police because we will help you. No real help was ever given. No parking tickets written by the police, despite giving them pictures like they told us to do. Nothing. A few months ago, things finally tipped over the edge. I'll admit I lost my cool, so I'm not 100% innocent either. A vehicle was blocking the handicap parking again. I spat on the windshield in frustration. The entitled mom saw this as she walked out of the daycare and began yelling at me, shouting that she was going to slash my tires and that she had a gun on her. The police were called. The cops show up, we show them our placard, explain the situation, and I get a $150 ticket for disorderly conduct. Okay, I can take responsibility for what I did wrong. That's fine. What about the entitled mom? No ticket at all. At this point, I'm pissed. I asked the cop if he was serious. I asked what was the point of calling them for years like the department has told us to if nothing ever gets done. No real answer from him. The cop replied to us that she wasn't getting cited because we were not inconvenienced. Are you serious? A friend of mine messaged me and told me it might be a good idea to contact my city council for help. I honestly never thought of such an idea, so I gave it a shot. It was Friday on a holiday weekend, so I wasn't expecting a response until at least Monday, but they got back to me within 2 hours with actual help. I was shocked. They got me on direct contact with the police chief who got a marked police vehicle parked at the daycare in the mornings for a week. These parents, with a very obvious cop parked by the door, still illegally parked in the handicap spots. How dumb can you get? One entitled mom even tried to get out of a ticket by rolling up her window and pretending the cop wasn't there writing a ticket. One officer was kind enough to inform me they wrote over a dozen tickets in a week. After this, my wife told me she has been able to park at the daycare ever since it was finally properly enforced. Should it have taken this long? Oh no, it shouldn't have. I'm just glad my wife has access to the parking she needs when dropping off and picking up our child. Wow, this is one of those stories where you're left thinking, why did it take so long for people to do the bare minimum of their jobs? The patience required to deal with not only the entitled parents, but also the apathetic daycare staff and law enforcement is nothing short of heroic. What a journey, though. Sounds like you and your wife finally have the peace and access you deserved all along. Kudos for standing your ground even when the odds seem stacked against you. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.